end, even if only one man breaks through, head for the Axis fleet. So all future generations will know the truth of the battle that we have fought.
Despite being a boss character, Neue Ziel may actually be one of the more vulnerable characters in this game. He can't block, he cannot dodge, he does not have an eye field. He does have 5 bars of health, but as you can see, plainly see, his health is half the size of the rest of the cast. So his overheats are going to come a lot faster, and overheats will stun him. And he also has the same weaknesses as Big Zom. Getting behind him greatly decreases what he can do, and he can be stunned by certain multi-hitting attacks. Now, those 2 weaknesses are a bit less debilitating for Neue Ziel because of his freedom of movement. He has unlimited flight, which means he can 8-way dash anywhere across the screen, but he cannot turn around without the aid of a special move. And the thing about this special move is that it pushes him out of the screen, turns him around off screen, and pushes him forward. And the problem with this is that it pushes him a little too far forward, so your opponent can just run past you as you're turning forward. Although it does give you invulnerable frames while turning around, so it's a nice dodge mechanic, I think. So that might be a little bit helpful if you're being attacked from behind. You can actually dodge a few mega specials that way. A few. Not many. Or not all of them, at least. And of course you can't do it while you're in front, because doing the command will do the tackle attack, which does not combo into itself without missiles. And the rest of it can... Well, actually, it does combo into itself if your opponent is in the air, so it's actually a good way to punish your opponent if he tries to jump over you. So there's that. The missiles probably are his most useful special, despite not doing a lot of damage on their own. If you get far enough, you can use the missiles and then run in with them, or accompany them with a beam rifle attack. His ammo attack, he's got quite a bit of ammo for having a beam attack, but it's a little slower than I'd like it to be. But it is a beam shot, so it'll go through shells, which is very nice. His beam saber move, his unblockable, is a little slower than I'd like it to be, considering it's not very long in range, and it's kind of awkward because of how tall New Zeal is. It actually takes a little while getting used to New Zeal's movement, because, for instance, if your opponent is ahead of you and you want to do, I believe the command is up and triangle, what you have to do is you have to press up twice, then hit triangle, because if you just hit up, he'll fly up, and then it won't register your command. So, like, certain little glitches like that make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be to play as New Zeal. And furthermore, his Mega Special is really not as useful as I'd like it to be. It doesn't carry your opponent like it looks like it ought to, unless they're knocked down. So that sucks. It's good for racking up damage after an overheat, so that's good. But it's really only useful for taking out a bar against, like, Big Zom or other characters that are like that. So if you're gonna play as New Zeal, if you happen to be fortunate enough to be in a community that will allow you to play as New Zeal, I would say you just have to be 100% aware of where your opponent is at all times. Do not let them get behind you. Do not let them just throw specials around willy-nilly, because that's where their damage is going to come from, and that's what will kill you. Just counter everything that they try to do. And it shouldn't be too hard, because New Zeal is a bit faster than Big Zom, and has a bit more deadly tech than Big Zom does, I believe. But he still can be crumpled up easily, so you just have to be careful and aware at all times, and you should be okay. Now, if you came to this video to find out how to beat people who play as New Zeal, I got you covered. Ironically enough, GPO2A is actually really good against New Zeal for a lot of the same reasons that he's good against Big Zom. The anti-air missiles and the Mega Special just cover up New Zeal's hitbox and do a ton of damage. And this is a good example of New Zeal's health bar really putting him at a disadvantage. The lack of health really just completely debilitates him, and kind of makes him look like a joke in this particular matchup. A lot of it has to do with those two anti-air moves, though. So that's one really bad matchup for New Zeal. Another bad one for this similar reasons, but not having the anti-air advantage, is heavy arms. This is where the cheapness of his missiles really come into play, and there's not much you can do if you're playing as New Zeal against heavy arms. You can kind of dodge around, but we're not going to talk about how to beat heavy arms. We're talking about how to beat New Zeal. So just, you don't even need to get behind him, really. Just get farther enough where his normals can't reach you, especially his light kick, which can home in on you. So that's another really debilitating matchup against New Zeal. Fortunately so for him, anyway. Another pretty good matchup against New Zeal is Tallgeese. And the thing about Tallgeese is his Mega Cannon Plus, because it does multi-hit, and because New Zeal's hitbox is so big, it'll do more damage than it's supposed to. Similar to how Sandrock, his shuttle throw, will do more damage to bigger enemies. Now, it's not quite as effective if New Zeal dodges them with his his turnaround move. But even with that, his Tallgeese's Mega Cannon will do, generally speaking, a bar of damage. And that's 3 whole bars, and plus his movement makes it a lot easier to get behind him pretty quickly, so that's another one. And actually, Double Zeta is actually really good. It's probably one of the only 2 matchups where his anti-air missiles is actually useful at all. But of course, his double barrel beam rifle does a crap ton of damage, and he's got the eye field, so missiles and beams won't really do that much. So he either has to get behind him or just get really far away, and then his mega special will actually home in on New Zeal even if he's up in the air, and that will do a bar. So that's another mobile suit that can really kill New Zeal very quickly. You just have to watch out for New Zeal's mega special if you get in front, and maybe not do the heavy version like I was doing of the double barrel, because really not necessary, because it racks up the same amount of damage since they don't combo. And unsurprisingly, Death Scythe, of course, a really good matchup against the 2 bosses, because he can get behind him and teleport, and there's really nothing New Zeal can do. Now, yeah, New Zeal can do the turnaround and get out of there, but it's actually quicker just to move slightly backward. And even that's not good enough, because Death Scythe can just teleport again, and he's fast enough where he can just get behind him and just chip away. And that's Death Scythe in a nutshell, just slowly draining your life away with Atomic Slash and Death Scythe. Now, from New Zeal's perspective, I guess what you gotta do is just get in front of him and shoot him really quickly, and maybe you can crumple him up that way. And the last one I'm going to show here is Zaku 2. And the big thing that Zaku 2 has is, A, he has a damaging special, and his extreme speed makes it really, really, really easy to get behind New Zeal really quick, even at the beginning of the match, because most characters either try to jump or run behind New Zeal, and he can just do light kick to stop them, but he can't do it to Char Zaku 2 because he's too fast. He'll just get behind him immediately. Nope.